Hey guys, just want to say a Merry Christmas and a Happy belated New Year. Well, this might be a coming out New Year. I actually can't remember, but just want to say that. Hope you all enjoy this Bret Hart episode. It's alright. CY likes Bret Hart. I'm indifferent to him. He's been one of my favorite wrestlers, but whatever. We'll talk about it during this. But once again, hope you all enjoyed. Sorry there wasn't a episode on Monday the 26th. Just forgot to put one up, if I'm honest. But it is what it is. Anyways, love you all. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about us. Now, on to the episode. Woo!
Lawler, you wanted a big fight. You wanted to start a fight with the Hitman. You wanted to start a war? Well, you did, because you started a fire underneath the Hitman that only I can put out. You started something that I'm going to finish, and I can promise you one thing. You may have ruined one of the most important moments of my career. You may have ruined the King of the Ring coronation. You may have jumped me and beat me like a dog, but I can promise you one thing. I can promise you when you step in the ring with the Hitman at the SummerSlam, you'll be facing a totally different breed of cat. I am gonna wipe you out. I am gonna destroy you, Jerry Lawler, and I can promise you I am gonna take you to the gallows and you will be excellently executed.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Trip Around the Multiverse with your host, the third most charismatic person named Hart, Carl Charles, and...
Right. Okay. Okay. And the man who hates America, CY Chung.
And this episode, we're going to be doing a character spotlight on the man, also slash character, Bret the Hitman Hart. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Although I have to say, I mean, in this one, it's probably a bit of a what's it called? A look back at his career as well, because Bret Hitman Hart and Bret Actual Hart,
Yeah.
they're not really that far different in character.
No, they're not.
No,
Really.
I mean, he's mostly himself.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever been so overly like. People use the exaggerations of himself,
Yeah.
and Bret Hitman Hart is an exaggeration of Bret Hart, but not like a 10 times level exaggeration or anything like that. You know,
No.
just like a bit more stepped up version of himself.
Yeah, which is still kind of bland. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Well, no, hold on. Anti-America, Bret Hart was amazing.
He was.
Oh,
But
right. Anti-America Bret Hart character was way more. He was way more confident on the mic.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to say I was more or less charismatic, but what I'm saying is his mic skills confidence level just shot up.
Yeah.
Like a significant amount, right? Not to say he was like The Rock or on the mic or like Stone Cold or anything like that, but when he had that edge to him,
Yeah.
where he could just spew venom. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you say
So,
he actually felt.
Well, yeah, bits and pieces of that. Yeah. So did you, when you first saw Bret Hart, watched Bret Hart?
It would have been around just after he broke up with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and he was like Intercontinental Champion and that. That's when I first met
I
Bret.
think I first saw Bret Hart around when he beat Diesel for the title.
Oh,
around
wow.
that time. No, he's 4-ish, but
Yeah.
just but then or thereabouts. So I never saw the Hart Foundation run until afterwards.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then did you ever watch any of the old Hart Foundation promos?
Yeah, they were cocaine fueled on Anvil's
On
side.
Neidhart's part, right?
Yeah, he was all on the drugs.
Yeah. Well, see, now here's the thing, right? I think that helped them both in a way, right?
Yeah.
Whatever Neidhart was on, right? Because when you watch it back, you're like, when you're watching as a kid, you're just like, oh, that man's just hyper. Like when you watch Randy Savage, right?
Yeah.
But then when you're older, you're like, nah.
Yep.
That's
He was
something
all
else.
on drugs. Yeah. Oh. The
But
early
yeah,
90s.
well, like, Anvil was a character, definitely. That is a fact, right?
Yep.
And I think that helped Bret in a way because he, like you said, he was a bit more. He's a bit more of a bland guy. He'll say he does what he's got the abilities to say it what he needs to do to promote whatever, right? He can cut a promo, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not. You want to say he's a magnetic draw when you're watching him. He's got physical charisma, but what I'm saying is, the necessary acting ability to entrance you as believe everything he's saying. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, you do believe what he's saying, but what I'm saying is his character and him were basically one and the same.
Yeah, they literally were.
Yeah. So when he was Bret Hart in the Hart Foundation, I don't know. I mean, he was good, but I think when he split from Naito, he started having more of a character because he was allowed more screen time on himself.
But like, if I'm honest, like until he became, like you said, anti-America Bret Hart,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what his character was.
All right. Let me draw a comparison. Firstly, okay, let me ask you, the costume. You know, like when he was in the Hart Foundation, he just had that blue stripe with the black singlet with the long ones with the blue stripe down the side, and I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't look. I know they look kind of plain with a blue heart, I think.
Yeah.
But when they switched to the pink, it was better. But then he got better designs later on. Like, would you say? I think the black with the black with the white flames and the pink. No, it's the pink flames with the white stripe, right?
Yeah.
I think that was his best look.
Yeah, that was his best look. Before that,
Yeah, with the heart and it was the skull, the heart, and the wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think sometimes he switched the tops, like got pink top or pink bottoms.
Yeah.
Also, right? This is what I never got. So what he's wearing, he wears the singlet.
Yeah.
Then he wears the tights, and then he wears the trunks on top of that. I'm like, right? Dude, you're basically wearing 3 pairs of underwear.
Yeah, it never really made any sense, did it?
I think it's funny because when you watch it, and you're like, oh yeah, that's normal, and then you like, so Christian was wearing tights and the trunks on top of it, but then later on he just switched to the tights. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Until then, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it never made sense.
Yeah, because even Shawn Michaels was wearing the tights and the trunks on top of it. I don't know if that was a specific reason. Like the seam in the middle of your tights, maybe like stitched in the center, like trousers, right? So if they split, you still got the trunks to cover you.
Might be that.
But
still weird.
Yeah, I think there must be an evolution because my tights, my wrestling tights, they've got that Chuck Norris diamond in the center.
Okay, yeah.
It's like that. They're stitched like that. Yeah. So they stretch them. But that's the only reason I can assume. Back to Bret Hart. Yeah, this is a comparison. I don't know if you agree or disagree with me, right?
Okay.
But Bret Hart's babyface character, it's got the same charisma as Cyclops.
Yeah. Much as well. Depends what Cyclops, but yeah, I do get what you mean. Yeah, it's just you're a good guy. Great. Yeah. And you believe in the stuff you're saying and stuff like that, and you're good at what you do, but it's just other people that overshadow you in the department, that particular department, though you are a good leader, Yeah, it's kind of... By default, you're here because you're good, sort of thing. That's what it is. Yeah. But I would not say though that Jim Neidhart was the Wolverine of the team because no. Far from it. But when you're watching the Hart Foundation, did you always think Bret is a standout on the team? Because I didn't really see them as that, not till later, like you, but. Yeah, you see Bret was sort of the standout. Even though he was, in most of the matches, he'll take the beating and then get the hot tag. Here's the thing with Bret. He's got great talent. That's the thing. He makes so many people look good. I don't think he's deliberately ever made someone look bad. No. And he has the ability to, right? But he'd rather have a good match, full stop. And obviously, Bret being the Hitman Hart, his character... He's a technical wrestler from the beginning, and I would say Jim Neidhart was a brawler. Yeah, I'll say power wrestler. Yeah. I mean, he fits in a weird category where he's kind of half brawling, half power. Whenever he's bigger than someone. Yeah. Basically. What would you say the Hitman character is? The Bret Hitman Hart character. Like, also, when did it start being a character? If you know what I mean. Because I don't think he was the Hitman when he was in the Hart Foundation, right? Was it the Hitman and the Anvil? Were they? I don't know. Did they start as that? I don't think they did. No. Okay. Yeah. I think I think when he became a single guy, he might became the Hitman.
I think he might have been Hitman during the Hart Foundation, but not actually from the very beginning of it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, you know.
What would you say the Hitman character is? The Bret Hitman Hart character?
A slow, methodical killer.
No. Oh, I didn't mean the technical and ability. I mean like, like okay, Shawn Michaels is the sexy boy, and Goldust is the androgynous, gold painted Oscar winner movie director with the strange stalkerish mind games of being very what's it called?
Flamboyant.
Well, yeah, but
Androgynous.
yeah. Well,
yeah, whatever the word is,
yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
I would say, how do I put the Bret Hitman Hart character? Is just simply there to prove he's the best in a way, but not in the way that The Rock would do it. Well, The Rock is the great one, right?
Yeah.
Better than everyone around, all that boasted ego, right? Bret Hitman Hart's just like, look, we'll take it in the ring, yeah, and we'll see who's better on the day. Essentially, kind of ish.
I don't really know what he's. Even trying to think about it now.
Yeah,
I really don't know what his character was at that point.
Yeah. Well,
like you explained the other characters, you could tell who they are, but them, I really don't know.
I can't remember who said this, right? But they basically said that there should be three three major ways to create wrestling storylines, right? Either you are going there to win a title, right? You are going to get revenge on someone who's you're going to get revenge or a rematch or something like that, yeah, to beat the other person. In that case, yeah. Or you're there to prove you're the best. Yeah. What? And I'd say basically Bret Hart's there to prove he's the best in ring.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. At the same time, I wouldn't say that's more of a end mission, but not a character trait.
Yeah, because
he never boasted how. Oh yes, he called himself the best there is, the best there was, and the best there will be. Yeah, but he never used that as an egotistical "I'm better than you" sort of thing.
Yeah, which is kind of meh when you think about it now.
Yeah, though I will say this, like I said before, he will just attempt to make everyone look good. I was watching a match recently. This is way later when he was anti-America Bret Hart, 97, right? Yeah. And it was he had the match. He was having a match against Rocky Maivia, pre-Rock Rocky Maivia.
Yeah.
For the Intercontinental title as well, which Bret, world title winner. Why is he going for the Intercontinental title? There are reasons behind that because Shawn Michaels wanted him out of the world title picture and said, "Why did Bret win the Intercontinental title?" Anyways, right? Yeah. And Bret's like, "No, because that won't help Rocky Maivia, who's trying to establish himself." And Rocky and Bret were friends.
Yeah.
So Bret tried to
Rock, innit?
Yeah. Bret tried to make him look good, I think Bret, it was this 9-minute match or something. Bret was dominating most of it, yeah, and then Rock got his major comeback towards the end of half of the match.
Yeah.
And then Bret was like, "I'd have enough of this. I'm just going to pick a full ring post this guy." I was like, "Okay, makes a lot of sense."
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, still.
But I always found that Bret Hart matches, Bret Hart as the man would try to make other people look good to elevate them in a way.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
I mean, so he made Diesel look good. He made his own brother look good, of course. But you'd think that's natural. British Bulldog, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, even the people that were underneath in pecking order, he'd help elevate them to his level.
Yeah. He's good on him.
Yeah, exactly. He knows how the business works. That's what I was going to. I think he's not all out for himself. If it makes sense, he'll he'll do what's required of him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure screw job notwithstanding, because that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah. Talk about
so.
That,
moving. So you became a fan of Bret during his Intercontinental run or before that?
Think my latest memory is during his Intercontinental run,
Okay.
which would
So
have
I
been
guess
like
you watched the match with Mr. Perfect.
92.
Sorry?
That would have been like 91, 92, I think.
So did you watch the match with Mr. Perfect after the like later on?
Must have, yeah.
Yeah. Which was really good. Like Mr. Kurt Hennig was injured, but actually it was a really good match.
Yeah.
And even the commentary covered it by saying Kurt Hennig was looking a bit more beefier than usual because he knew he needed the strength to go against Bret or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Really good match, and he was the first man to kick out of the Henningplex. Oh no, the fisherman suplex, right?
Yeah,
the perfect
perfect
plex.
plex.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great move.
And did you? You must have seen the promo they did a little bit beforehand, right? I think this is back in the day where they didn't do epic film reel recaps of feuds leading up to
No, they just
power
did like
matches.
weird little promos beforehand.
Yeah.
That you could tell they were caught on the spot and just say something like,
yeah, my dad's better than your dad. No, my dad would beat your dad. All right.
and it just go on for like 2 minutes. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I will say as well. I don't think the mic skills are Brett's strong point, the strongest point, right?
No.
But he does the job and get like that's required of him on it.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, he does, except for when he says the SummerSlam. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that's like when people say the Ryback.
Yeah.
Just verbal tics that sometimes people do, right?
Yeah. I love that sort of stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially when they're not doing it on purpose. It's just natural for them. You're like, oh, this is hilarious.
But yeah, no, I did like that. I know. I found the promo for kind of funny because then it just was like, yeah, it just was like, well, my dad could beat your dad. No, your dad can't beat my dad. I was like, okay, this is kind of schoolyard stuff, but at the same time, it's like kind of funny because they're grown men in their mid-30s saying it.
Yeah, you're like, wow. If he was 10,
your dad was stuck in my dad back in the day. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
But I think they because that was to add a little bit more of a personal look. It's a title match, right?
Yeah.
And it's just you got the title and I won it, right?
Yeah.
But I think they wanted to add a bit more, fuel to the fire.
Yeah, make it seem more grander. Yeah.
Yeah, and a little bit more personal now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that match actually.
Yeah,
it was really good. Did you see? Okay, so Bret lost to the Mountie, which he had the flu in kayfabe, but realistically his contract was running out.
Yeah.
So they didn't know like whether he was going because I think WCW was trying to go for him.
Yeah.
They wanted to lead the feud to the Roddy Piper thing. So I think the Mountie won it for like a day or two.
Yeah, something
basically
like that.
lost it to Roddy Piper, and then Roddy Piper's like gonna head into his SummerSlam. His WrestleMania feud with Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then Bret Hart. Roddy Piper, by the way, being Scottish. Okay. Yeah. And he goes, "I remember you when you was wee high." So here's the thing, right? Roddy Piper's kayfabe Scottish, and also kayfabe Bret's cousin.
I thought it was a real thing. They're cousins.
Are they real cousins? I don't think they're real cousins.
I'm pretty sure they're real cousins.
Let me have a quick look. Is Roddy Piper related to? Is Roddy Piper? Oh, you know what? Maybe you got fooled by, and I bet you think that the Big Show is Andre the Giant's son.
Oh no, that one.
Is Roddy Piper related to Bret Hart? Okay, are Roddy Piper and Bret Hart cousins?
Yeah, in his biography, wrestler Roddy Piper states that he's cousins of the Hart family, and that was used as a fact in trivia once on Raw.
Yeah. So, look, Bret and him were the best of friends. They weren't real cousins, but as close as you can probably get without being related, probably. But I'm putting it this way, yeah? That's the same way that The Rock's a cousin with Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Probably. They're cousins through marriage, but there's no blood. Yeah. And it goes way back, yeah. I mean, you go back far enough, yeah? And Samoa Joe's related to
them Samoans somehow.
Probably.
But then again, if you go back far enough, I'm related to you somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's all the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're all related somehow.
But yeah. So when they headed their feud in SummerSlam, I think because Piper used to work in Stampede Wrestling on occasion as well, so they were friends from that, so way back. By the way, do you know how Bret got hired?
No.
So Vince McMahon, right, started going around buying the territories as you do, yeah, because he's trying to run every other territory out of wrestling, yeah, so he can have a monopoly, which he did happen, yeah. So he went to Canada and he bought out Stampede Wrestling and basically said, and Stu Hart said, look, you can buy Stampede Wrestling, but there's a couple of caveats for you. Take Brett, take Bulldog, take Neidhart, and take the Dynamite Kid, and some other people.
Yeah.
And make sure you use them. I'm like, all right, okay. And then I think one of Stu Hart's son but then Stu Hart couldn't what's it called? Promote Stampede Wrestling or do any other rival organization to WWF. And then one of the other sons decided, oh well, I'm gonna run this show. And then Vince was like, well, if you're doing that, I ain't paying Stu then the money that I promised him. Well, Anyways, that's shady dealings on that. The Hart family is chaos, by the way, in real life.
That family is hilarious. If I'm honest.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
But that's how they got and he was going to be Cowboy Bret Hart, and I'm like, I don't see that. Bret basically said, cowboys know actual cowboys, right?
Yeah.
And they could tell I'm not a cowboy. I cannot go through this gimmick. To be fair though, can you tell if James Storm is a real cowboy or not?
I don't know. I would think he is.
Yeah, I think he just comes across like a cowboy-ish type person.
Yeah.
But Bret Hart, I don't think so.
No, it wouldn't make no sense.
No. But yeah, Roddy Piper sidetracked us. The WrestleMania 8 match. What did you think of it when you saw it?
I'm trying to remember which match that is.
That's against Roddy Piper for the Intercontinental title.
Oh yeah, because I just keep remembering WrestleMania 9 onwards. Yeah, it was okay.
Didn't you? It was okay. Didn't you? I liked it. I liked the drama of it. Because firstly, Bret they did the Bulldog, and Bret then came out bleeding. And they basically said one of the errant punches of Roddy Piper clipped him. But really, backstage, they conspired to have blood in their match.
Oh right, yeah.
I thought actually it could have just been like the when he got hit the Bulldog, it kind of dragged it. You could argue multiple different places where he could have got blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what happened was because Randy Savage and Ric Flair saw they got blood, even though they weren't supposed to. Ric Flair decided to cut himself. As he does, right? Yeah,
it's not a Ric Flair match unless he bleeds. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was too blatant about it, and then he got fired.
Stupid Flair.
So you just gotta be a bit low key. I mean, Brett's done this with Steve Austin as well, but we'll get to that later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's where he did the So Roddy Piper's finisher was the sleep hold.
Yeah.
And back in those days, by the way, did you ever believe that the sleeper hold would make someone go to sleep in kayfabe? Back in those days.
Back in days, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I buy it less.
Like ever since I started watching wrestling, no one fell asleep from the sleep hold. It always was that they do the arm drop twice, and then the third one they somehow managed to hype up their power to, raise their arm so it didn't drop. I'm like, but. Now from UFC, right?
Yeah, from UFC made it more legit.
Yeah, because there's a blood choke. How do you lose blood enough that your arms flop twice? Yeah. And then suddenly blood surges back into your head.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to find it more... Well, did I find it legit? It's not till recent... Actually, I'll take back what I said. Because I never really saw anyone win with it. Because I barely ever saw Piper win, so...
Yeah. It's true. Strangely enough, Piper did not lose that much either, so there was something going on there, right?
Yeah. So, like now when you see people do it, like especially when they do like the Kakita clutch, where it's basically a sleeper hold, but they wrap their legs around.
Or the
your stuff, right?
Karafua clutch
Yeah.
from Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, or the straight jacket by Killian Cross. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, I find them more legit because it's obviously they put the whole weight on you and they've like trapped you. But the old school sleeper, yeah, no, unless it was a chicken wing, I didn't ever buy it.
Or unless Dolph Ziggler did it and got a couple of wins with it sometimes.
Yeah, because he had a legit like wrestling background, that's why I kind of bought it. But yeah, no one else.
Yeah,
it was like a rest hold move. So
yeah, exactly. That's why it's downgraded to. It's like you can see many moves.
Yeah.
Are rest hold moves and stuff like that as well. Though I mean, like not that the sharpshooter is one either. Yeah,
no.
When Bret puts it on or when Owen puts it on, right? They're locked in tight. Or Sting, but you know what I mean. When they're locked in tight, it looks like it hurts. Yeah.
Yeah.
When Steve Austin does it, it doesn't look the greatest, but it looks decent. When The Rock does it, though,
the best.
Okay, so have you ever had a sharpshooter put on you, or have you ever put a sharpshooter on someone?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you tuck their knee underneath their? I mean, do you tuck their ankle underneath their knee, as where the second leg would go?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was first watching it, I always thought it was a back submission, like because it does hurt your lower back.
Yeah.
Right. But it also hurts the ankles. One of the ankles is tucked in beneath another knee, and it will cause pain there as well. But I don't think they ever tuck it in that tight.
No.
So when Bret's doing it, when Bret's working on the leg, I'm like, this really hurt the leg. But I guess you have to lock it in proper tight to do that to hurt but then that goes against wrestling because you're not meant to try and hurt your opponent. You know?
Well, it's not like the Rock's one where he like locks your ankles together at the top. It's really weird. Yeah.
And the thing is, I know he's got tap outs a couple of times with those, but it doesn't never make any sense because he doesn't work on anyone's back.
Nope. Or their legs. Yeah. Makes no sense.
Exactly. Oh no, maybe you'll throw in a dragon screw there, right, and then transition to sharpshooter. But it still doesn't make any sense because the only time you worked on your, unless your dragon screw has got like 10 times million power level, going up there. Yeah,
it makes no. Yeah, weird.
Yeah. But sorry. Yeah. So this is where Bret jumped off the turnbuckle. Where he he was in the sleeper and he ran towards the turnbuckle and then pushed down on Roddy Piper and did that rolling back pin.
Yeah, which looks awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Which here's the thing, right? He never definitively he won the match, and Piper looked good coming out of it as well. It's like you won the match because you were smarter.
Yeah.
What I like about Bret matches is he never definitively makes his opponent look like a jabroni. Yeah. And sometimes if he can't win his trademark submissions, where people actually used to tap, right, and there used to be no shame in tapping, right. But sometimes he just catch them with like some sort of not a sneaky schoolboy roll up pin, but you know some sort of pin. Like he's got small packages, victory rolls, all sorts of that stuff. You know, he knows how to work all the different pins out of nowhere, like a minstrel cradle and stuff like that. And it never comes across like he did it sneaky or they weren't looking or it's to protect the other opponent. He's just like he's experienced to know when he needs to do certain things.
Yeah, because he's.
But by the way, right, back in the 90s, would you say, okay, when did people stop tapping out? Not necessarily tapping out, but like submissions nowadays are less potent than submissions back in the day?
Would you say mid-attitude era, they stopped tapping out.
Yeah, what and why do you think that is, like, in your opinion? Because...
Attention span.
How do you mean?
Like people would find submissions boring, so they just got rid
of it. You reckon?
Yeah.
Personally, I thought right. Vince, like, okay, so this is out of kayfabe, right? But this is the actual context. This is what I think, anyways. Yeah. So some people you want to protect because you don't want them to lose tapping out, right? Because when you pin someone with a knockout move, you beat them. Because you managed to get the move, like you did a maneuver which would not KO them for 3 seconds, right?
Yeah.
and your lead babyface can take it like a 3 second, like a knock. You can go down for the pin if you got knocked out hard, right?
Yeah.
Quote unquote, yeah. But if your lead babyface taps out, it means he's a quitter, right?
Hmm.
Not that I care, because I care about logic mainly, right?
Yeah.
So if you're beaten up so much that you tap out, that's that, right?
Yeah, it makes
That
sense.
should be,
Yeah.
the most logical thing, right?
Hmm.
But I think at some point Vince was like, I say Vince because under his WWF rule, right?
Yeah.
Many people stopped tapping out that much, and mainly faces did. Like, if you're a heel, you are probably more likely to tap out than if you're a face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that just made everything less more effective, and people like submission wrestlers had to come up with secondary finishes, which were pin finishes.
Yeah.
Because from, like you say, the mid-90s onwards, right?
Mm.
If you name me a wrestler that is a submission wrestler, mainly known, I can probably give you a secondary finisher they had that was a knockout, pin count submission, pin count, move.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone I can think of Owen Hart, but
Which, by the way, I will say he should have like his. I think his not his necessarily his secondary finish, yeah. But when he KO'd Shawn Michaels with that Insaguri, he should have taken that as his other finisher.
Yeah. Or the
Like the
spinning
step
back. Oh, the spinning heel kick. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, the step up Insaguri, the spinning heel hook, one of those, right?
Yeah.
Because when he knocked out Shawn Michaels, Shawn Michaels saw the knockout, it just made this move look devastating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like you said, that mid-90s people just generally generally not tap out as much.
Yeah. I just think because of it, just the setup for it's kind of boring.
Which one?
Like to do a submission. Oh, to be fair, there was Benoit, and he was a submission. All of it.
But he had the diving headbutt to get
he
3
was
counts.
barely finished him for that. It was always a cripple crossface.
Oh yeah, well, it's true. But yes, it's true. It's true actually.
Yeah, he's the only one I can think of.
I think he mainly finished. Yeah, but then he'd get put pins with the diving headbutt as well. I think.
All his matches, I always remember. He might be right at rare occasions, but 90% of his matches won with the cripple crossface.
Maybe I'll have to come back to that at some point, and dispute you. But maybe you are correct. I recall that. I'm pretty sure he had another finish, but then again, I was like, no, he doesn't, does he?
Because he never beat him on the 3 German suplexes
or 10 when he did it to Steve Austin.
Yeah. I was going to say Kurt Angle, but he had the Olympic Slam or the Angle Slam, depends.
Yeah, but I think he transitioned to mostly using the ankle lock.
Yeah.
As well, strange enough. Yeah.
But
the grapevine version of the ankle lock being the most potent. But
yeah.
Here's the thing with the ankle lock, right? The ankle lock's designed to break your ankle. It's not a pain maneuver. You tap out because it's going to snap and it's actually going to break. You don't sell it like I'm going to climb to the ropes and then get a rope break. No, your ankle probably be snapped by the time you get to the rope.
Yeah.
Whereas the sharpshooter is a legit discomfort maneuver.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point you're like, I can't, especially if he's worked on your back, right?
Yeah.
You don't be exactly. Moving on chronologically, by the way, before we get too sidetracked.
All right.
Where to the match with the British Bulldog at Wembley Stadium for the Intercontinental title. I have a great match.
Yeah, it was. It was a great match, especially when you learn the backstory.
I was going to ask you if you knew it.
Yeah.
Go on. Fill the people in.
Where British Bulldog, they came to England, and British Bulldog and Jimmy Anvil Neidhart disappeared for like 3 days. And then he turned up in the arena, and British Bulldog says, yeah, I've been on a 3-day, I think, either crack or heroin binge. And I remember the match will be fine. So Bret's like, cool, let's get to the ring. Get to the ring now. And then he comes to Bret and goes, Bret, I'm effed. And Bret's like, okay, cool, I'll lead you. So Bret led him through the whole match
Yeah, basically Bret wrestled.
himself.
Yeah, exactly. It's just yeah, exactly. And what's funny is it's quite amazing as well because when you watch it, you cannot tell
No, you can't.
that Bulldog's like out of his
Wasted. Yeah.
yeah. It's aside from the instance where he doesn't catch Bret, so Bret had to do. Okay, so Bret, what's it called? Catapulted himself from outside the ring, no, inside the ring to the outside, and Bulldog's meant to catch him, but Bulldog's gassed as well, right?
Yeah. I'm gassed.
So he's taken a little bit of a rest on the apron, and I think he just he doesn't even look up to see Bret. He just see like big shadow coming like over his head, and you're like in that instant, it's like, huh? What's this? Why is it so sudden dark? He doesn't maneuver whatsoever. So Bret has to catch Bulldog, like because he's flying on Bulldog's like bit on top of the guy. Right? So to stop himself going splat, right? Because expecting the guy to catch him, or take a step back and go, yeah, right. He grabs Bulldog on his way down from the neck. Yeah. So then he pulls Bulldog down to slow himself down, right? Because otherwise he would have hurt himself. And I think you would say that was a reverse. He grabbed Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, and did a reverse Bulldog on the outside, kind of
something like that. It's like
yeah,
drugs, eh?
Yeah. But also, like when you watch it as well, again, knowing this, you could not necessarily tell where there's certain points that he's feeding instructions to Bulldog, right? But there's certain times where he's like doing rest holds or stuff like that, and you're like, oh, these must be the break points because if they're on the ground or whatever like that during the, that's just when he's feeding him stuff to do next.
Yeah.
I was reading his book as well because there's certain maneuvers that are shorthand, and I think if you're gonna reverse something, like if you do Irish strip and you're gonna reverse someone, you squeeze their wrists.
Yeah.
On the maneuver, and they know to reverse it. See, as Albert Bulldog was, right?
Yeah.
Some things are locked in your mind from training, so you know what to do autopilot, even if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, did you ever read Eddie Guerrero's biography?
No, I have it, but I've never read it. I need to actually read it.
So he was off his head on drugs as well, right?
Yeah.
Driving a car back, I think, after doing drugs and drink, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Which
as you do.
exactly. Crashed his car, right?
Yeah.
Went flying out the window. Did a tuck and roll.
Oh wow.
Yeah, tuck and rolled out, and I was like, yeah. Obviously, that was a crash, like wherever. But what I'm saying is, he did not go splat like out of the window.
Yeah.
Into the pavement. He just automatically went into a wrestling side roll.
Yeah, it's come second nature.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. And there was the whole thing after the Bulldog match where it was meant to be a character thing because British Bulldogs married to Bret's sister.
Yeah.
And they're meant to hug, right?
Yeah.
They meant that like, oh yeah, Bulldogs won the match. He was the better man on the night. Bret's been a bit sour, right?
Yeah.
But he's waiting for Bulldog to turn to him and then he'd be like, slap his hand away, give him a hug, yeah?
Yeah.
Something like that. But Bulldog never does that. Bulldog's celebrating because he's like, I don't want to say he's getting the adrenaline rush, he's getting the adulation of the fans. So he's like, not hot dogging, but he's just like celebrating to his countrymen as he should be, right?
Yeah.
But he just forgets the next sequence because his brain's not there.
Yeah.
So Bret has to do the thing. Bret has to go to him and give him the hug. So yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that was that.
All right.
And at this point, so the Hitman character, is basically because I think so the Hitman character he's in an era where a lot of things. Like you get Macho Man or Hulk Hogan or whatever, like completely over the top or cartoonishly, flamboyant characters, yeah. And he's basically a guy who says, "I'm going to come in and do something like an athlete," right?
Yeah.
Like to prove I'm the best. He's very straightforward. He's essentially Bret Hart's gimmick is to be like, "I'm a serious pro wrestler."
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Mm. But here's the other thing, right? So, if we're saying Bret Hart is the Cyclops of pro wrestling,
Yeah.
that makes Stone Cold Steve Austin Wolverine. Yes.
Yes, yeah. A guy who realistically should be unlikable, but he's likable. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Does
that's what
that make
Wolverine is, basically.
does that make does that make Vince McMahon Professor X?
Nah, he's actually maybe.
And
Maybe.
does that make Eric Bischoff Magneto?
No, Eric Bishop, someone like Boulevard Trask or someone like that. Someone
Oh
more
yeah,
important.
okay, yeah, okay. He
Yeah.
wants to kill the WWF. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, they're the mutants. All right. Shane Max clearly Legion then. Yep.
Yeah. Has his moments. Yeah, yeah.
Oh dear. But yeah, no. I find that like okay. So Brett has got a very cool physical presence though about him. You know.
Does he?
Well, okay. This is the way I look at it. Shawn Michaels comes off as like completely over the top. I'm here and and I'm in your face sort of character.
Yeah.
Undertaker has a Batman charisma, right?
Hmm?
Would you say Undertaker's charisma is more like Batman's charisma? Deadly serious, but like it is a draw, yeah?
Yeah. I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Brett's there, like even when you come to ring, he's not he's got his leather jacket and his neon pink, yeah, but black and white ring gear with his shades, like with his wraparound sunglasses. And you're like, oh no, that's a cool looking dude. Or did you not find that?
No, like I did find it. Like it was cool at first, but then it kind of got bland. You're like, oh, it's just the same sort of, just a leather jacket, pink glasses.
Well,
Doesn't do
okay.
anything really like amazing on the way to the ring, if I'm honest.
Okay. Right. Well, all right. So, okay, but you're Bret Hart fan, though.
Yeah,
so
I'm a Bret Hart fan, but like, I'm probably more of a fan because of his technical prowess and stuff, not like his aesthetics. So his aesthetics kind of bland, if I'm honest.
Well, okay. He looked like he could go in the ring, and he wasn't like as far as just physical movement is concerned, he was not a void, right?
No, he wasn't a void.
His charisma, he had a fine amount of charisma for what he needed to do. Yeah, he wasn't super charismatic, right? But the stuff that he needed to pull up, what he needed to say, the believability was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all that. But to be fair, it defined what he was, and he was exactly that. The excellence of execution. It's work on the body parts until your opponent can't stand it. Or he, as far as ring work is concerned, right? It made sense with the character where we'd attack, how we'd attack, and it'd adapt depending on who the opponent was, because he could always submission guys, right? He could fight high flyers, could fight brawlers, and whatever. He'd always adapt his game to their game, right? But then sometimes force them to work his style as well, because he'd ground them as well. So, as far as, if you want to see what a Hitman does, right?
Yeah.
Scouting his opponent and doing that sort of stuff. Yeah. I mean, it made a lot of sense. I think that's what... Okay, so obviously he's not actually a Hitman, right?
Yeah.
But then again, Stone Cold's not a serial killer, so,
No. Not yet, no.
Oh, okay.
Joking.
Yeah. No, but that's the Stone Cold gimmick, right? Even Stone Cold Steve Austin is a serial killer. He came off the vibes that he wanted to fight everybody, but never came off the vibes that he wanted to murder people.
No. He just seemed like a guy who just, like you said, just wanted to fight everyone.
Yeah.
And didn't care.
But naturally, that was Stone Cold days, right? But naturally, like when Brett got frustrated, I think it made sense. Where he started turning heel.
Yeah, it did make sense. Yeah.
Firstly, mainly because I would say so stuff just started going wrong for him all the time, even though he tried to play by the rules, and then he was like, you know what, F the rules, it don't matter, right?
Yeah.
Because Stone Cold does not follow the rules whatsoever, and he's getting his rewards, yeah?
Yeah.
So you've got to fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
And you people are cheering the guy who's basically the arsonist. You're cheering the arsonist. You know?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. And you people are scum. You American people are scum, right? How can you turn on me? Like he played like they turned on him. So yeah, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is neat. This is neat. He goes, any other country, I'd still be the hero. And then I was like, oh, you know what? This is actually done quite well because I've never seen it before where you cheered in one country and booed in another.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, okay, well done, Brett. Well done, nice one. It's especially apparent. You seen Canadian Stampede, right? In your house 16.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think I actually stayed up to watch that as a child.
So you had the Hart Foundation, which this is funny because Owen and Bulldog were having a match against each other, and they started. What were they doing? I think they just started going brawling, and Brett runs out.
Yeah,
He goes,
yeah.
no, look,
Yep.
this is what these American people over here, right? This is what they made you. This is what they turned you guys into, turning on your family. We Canadians, yeah, we the Hart Foundation. We will never turn on our family. Oh, and you're my brother, and Brett, you're my and Bulldog, you're my brother-in-law, right? We're more. We're more than friends. We're family or something like that. He did a little bit of a Vin Diesel there, but that's all right. But I did like his. He had this big promo he was kind of saying if he was to walk in the mouth of hell, these men, which would be Brian Pillman, Jim Neidhart, Owen Hart, Dave Boy Smith, British Bulldog, and himself. And he'd be like, these are the men he'd want with him. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Okay, it just like they blended real life with the characters, and they all were related anyways. Well, when I was watching it, I was like, how's Brian Pillman related to the Hearts? What's he got to do with the Hearts?
Yeah, that always confused me.
But I think he trained in the Heart Dungeon at some point.
Something like that.
Yeah. So that's the natural term for the character. To be fair, Stone Cold, I think it was Stone Cold's attitude of I don't give any F's whatsoever, right? And I'm gonna fight everyone that I see, right? Did get him some fans. Somehow. I mean, but then to be fair, Stone Cold's got loads of charisma and physical presence and mic skills and all that stuff. So you can be like, I don't want to be like Stone Cold, but I like Stone Cold, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you know that Stone Cold has never actually beaten Bret Hart ever.
Oh, no, never did he?
Oh,
No.
That's right. I think so. When Bret came back and Stone Cold was calling, it's funny because it's like, so you got Shawn Michaels as the champion, right?
Yeah.
At this point in '96, and Bret's just had his break, so he's coming back. And Stone Cold, and Bret's like, I want to challenge the best in the World Wrestling Federation, and the best is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And like, wow, right? I don't know if it's a snipe or anything like, or maybe Shawn Michaels took it as a snipe, but shouldn't the best be your champion? I know he's abroad on another feud, so you can't challenge him, right? But you'd be like, ooh, all right,
I don't know, because
drug binging paranoia feud Shawn Michaels probably took that personally rather than it as a story beat.
I don't know. I don't think you cared, if I'm honest. If Bret said it, then he may have cared, but Stone Cold, I don't think he really cared.
No, Bret said it.
Oh.
That's what Bret said.
Oh.
He said that, I'm going to fight the best in WWF, and the best is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's a bit of a stretch. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, yeah, but that was before Stone Cold had his neck broken,
Yeah.
Stone Cold could actually wrestle.
Yeah. Still wouldn't say he's a great wrestler. I wouldn't say he's the best. But, sure.
But I think that was to help elevate Stone Cold as well.
Yeah.
And I did like their match where Stone Cold was getting a good, like, it was never Bret, because he was a 3-time champion at this point, right? And Stone Cold has come in and won no titles whatsoever, except for $1 million title, but no official titles.
Yeah.
And Bret gave him, Bret. This is where how you put someone over without them defeating you.
Yeah.
And you both look good coming out of it, because he did the same roll up pit, like he kicked out the stunner, and then Stone Cold's like, all right, well, I'm gonna finish this guy with the $1 million dream, and he tries to do the Cobra Clutch, and Bret rolls backwards and pins him as well.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Same as the Road Piper one, right? But it's like, it was like one of those where he barely did it, and Stone Cold, like, could still go. Like they both were still able to capable, like look like they were capable of going, like
Yeah.
continuing if he kicked out of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And what I always like about Red is like, like we said before, he make an effort to make his opponent look good, but it's all throughout during the match. His facial expressions, like he'd been taking a beating as well. So
Yeah.
you know, don't yeah. You want to make it like, oh yeah, I'm just like John Cena, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes forget to sell, and sometimes be like, oh yeah, I've been through a gruesome match, but like, you know, look at my faces. I'm so casual. I'm gonna no sell like I'm gonna smirk. Like when someone cuts a promo on me, I'm gonna smirk as though it doesn't hurt me whatsoever. It's like, dude, come on.
Wait, John Cena never did that.
Yeah, I think it was especially apparent, right?
Mm.
When The Rock was cutting a promo on John Cena, and John Cena just stood across from him and just smirked, like, aren't you supposed to be setting outrage or whatever, right? Or you know, like, oh, it's got to you, yeah? Nah, you're like, pfft, you know, what you're saying don't mean jack to me. It's like, that's
Yeah, he
protecting your
smirked
character.
because of what happened next when he basically buried The Rock and The Rock got pissed about it in real life.
Oh, well, I mean,
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, well, I say we'll see, but I think we remember. I don't want to say necessarily remember. I don't hate John Cena. I'm just saying sometimes John Cena, I don't think helps his opponents.
Yeah.
But that's the separate thing altogether.
Yeah, separate thing altogether. A lot of wrestlers don't do it. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I enjoyed Anti-America Bret Hart. He seemed to have much more confidence in his mic skills. Carry a longer promos. You know, he was out in. So there was one match where Stone Cold was about to beat him. He just locked in his sharpshooter and never let go, and then started working on Bret's leg. He got DQ'd. So Bret still beat him. By losing, Bret still beat him.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And then Bret had to cut promos from a wheelchair.
That was
all right. Fair enough.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
It was funny though. It was so weird.
Yeah, but that just shows you. I mean, like, I can name you a good list of guys, right? Who, okay, so you think, right? The mic skills Bret had then, yeah. In this current era of TV, could that have helped carry him? Or would you say you'd have to elevate his mic skills accordingly?
Yeah, you'd have to elevate him because he wasn't.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, in ring work will work any time, any era, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, but it's similar to, because it can be done. AJ Styles, remember him in his teenage days?
Yeah.
His mic skills, my goodness, he was
terrible.
Yeah. And then he went to New Japan, started gaining so much more confidence. And then, by the time he went to WWE, those 2 years in Japan really helped him with his mic skills.
Big time, yeah. Because like, even in TNA, I liked him, but every time he got on mic, I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, you're there to wrestle and not talk.
Yeah. Oh,
but I would say at a certain point as well with Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Bryan. When he was Daniel Bryan, I don't think he had I think it was midway through his run in WWE where he I think in Ring of Honor when he started clowning around, right?
Yeah.
That's when he started getting more charisma. But then he had to stop all that because he was a rookie in WWE, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's when he started being over the top of the yes, he got more comfortable.
Yeah, it was when he first became World Heavyweight Champion before the whole yes bit, when they had that weird thing with AJ Lee and all that. That's when he started kind of coming out of his shell and he got a lot better. Then the yes movement was, him.
Yeah, so it can be done. I mean, so yeah, but I think Anti-America Bret Hart, like if he had those mic skills like that, I think he'd be okay here. Like if he was in the current era,
he'd be okay because I always got with Bret. He lacked the confidence on the mic.
That's why he was saying why he wore the sunglasses, so people would see how shaky his eyes were.
Yeah, I don't. And even like his anti-America stuff, it was. I wouldn't say it was great. It was okay.
No, but his delivery was better. His delivery of the material is what I'm saying.
What?
Hello?
Sorry, the headphone bit come up. Sorry, say that again.
I said his delivery of the material was better.
Yeah, it was better. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah. So actually, as no, we'll move on to. I'll say something afterwards, right?
All right,
But
right.
yeah. So Montreal Screwjob happened, and as you would in real life, see at this point where you start throwing the cameras around and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Causing more destruction. That I want to say that seemed like you didn't know if it was the guy or the character. Like if you're watching it casually,
Yeah, yeah,
but then you would if something like you don't know what's going on. You'd kind of assume that the character would do that anyway. So I would say he's consistent in that, right?
yeah.
Did you watch a lot of his WCW run?
Yeah, I watched all of it. Sadly, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they just really wanted him to be a heel when he should have been like a face sort of thing.
But even I think at that period as well, the faces of his time, if you're not like WWE time, wouldn't have worked in WCW.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to be like different, so I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. This is the thing, right? I liked his heelness though because he could fight. I mean, he could match his opponent, right? So yeah, right. But at some point, just choose to cheat for whatever reason he wants. You know, like fair enough. I can fight you on a one-on-one, however I want, right?
But why should I? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
There was something that was happening to matches with Sting, and Sting did a Stinger splash, and he hit the post as well.
Yeah.
Right, and then basically rolled out of the ring, got a baseball bat. Sting's dangling out of the ring because he's kind of KO'd. So Bret gets Sting's own baseball, it hits him like 3 or 4 times, right, and then claps like I think I'm not sure if the shot thrower hit him over the head or whatever. But anyway, Sting stumbled backwards, and then Bret locked in the sharpshooter. And like, yeah, well, I didn't need to do that. Sting was already locked out. But it's like I'm gonna hit him anyway. So, you know what I mean?
But then it makes it look like I got the win because I made him tap out, even though he was already passed out from knocked out. But hey, ego sort of thing. So I kind of got that. So I was like, that's fun.
I mean, I liked Bret as a heel there because he's like, I'm better than these people, right?
Yeah.
But then his cockiness got the better of him when he lost.
Yeah.
But he did actually get put over quite a decent amount of people as well to help elevate them as well. Like even like when it was WWF, like so he put over Booker T, Diamond Dallas Page when Page was like I don't think Page had a US title or anything like that at that point. Who else was there? He was Goldberg.
Wait, did he?
Well, I think Goldberg was already over that point, right?
Yeah.
But look, what I'm saying is, like, so like Benoit, there's lower tier guys, right? That Bret would have good matches with.
Yeah.
And not make them necessarily look bad.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah. And what did you think of Bret's promos here, where he was like, "Do you remember the Immortal El Dandy promo?"
Oh yeah, that was great.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Or Hypnosis? And he's like, Gene Oakland's like, you mean Psychosis? Whatever, man. And he did a sequel to that later on as well.
That was like a running
WCW backstage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Bret, you're a joker now. You're like, it's like you're serious, but you're not serious.
Yeah, like you're kind of checked out, but you're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Bret.
Yeah. To be fair as well, he in real life, I think he's partially checked out as well.
Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah, but he still put effort in his matches. You know.
Yeah.
He still tried to, even though he was saying in his book like Nash was on the booking squad and was trying to make himself look good at the expense of everyone else, and then like Bret was going to lose to Van Hammer, and Bret's like, but that doesn't make any sense if I'm supposed to have a match with Goldberg later on, you know. And Nash is like, all right, I tell you what, you can draw with Van Hammer. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, the Bret did some good stuff in WCW, like when he come out in his ultra bulky hockey jersey, and he's like, I quit the company. Goldberg come out, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
No, he didn't quit the company. He calls out Goldberg, says, you're challenging Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've always beaten Stone Cold all the time. So, you know, if you want to be better than Stone Cold, you have to try and beat me first. And then he goads Goldberg into spearing him. Goldberg spears Bret.
Oh, yeah.
Goldberg doesn't get up.
Yeah.
Bret rolls over. onto Goldberg, and he counts 1, 2, 3. And you're like, wait, this makes no sense. How did the guy get hurt?
Yeah, and this is not even a match, so it's another weird thing. Like, wait, what? Yeah.
And then Bret gets up. He pulls over off his hockey jersey, and he's got like a Bane breastplate underneath it.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, smart Hitman, huh? Smart. I thought he had a decent heel run there, like we were saying before. But obviously when okay, so for some reason when he was after Montreal the screw job, he came in as a face kind of, and they're like, oh, it was only a ruse all this time because he was actually a heel, yeah. But when Owen died and Britt took some time away, when he came back as a face because how else is he going to come back? There's no other way, you know. And I'm glad, kind of like they decided, you know, we can't. There's no way people are going to boo this guy right now, anyways. Yeah. So yeah. What did you think when they rejoined NWO 2000, the black and silver?
At first, I thought it was kind of cool, like the first week of it, and then I realized this is terrible.
They were quite an elite group.
Yeah, it was an elite group, but it was like, why are you doing this sort of thing?
Yeah,
like
so you had Bret as the champion because he was the leader and he was champion. Jeff Jarrett, US champion. Yeah. Nash was in there. Scott Steiner was in there.
It was a fifth person, right?
Also,
there was a fifth person, wasn't there?
Yeah. I can't remember offhand who it was. But yeah, it was like, okay, that's a cool group of people. NWO 2000, yep. Yeah.
Or the silver and black.
But I don't think they were the most. Like they didn't do much. They didn't have time to do much. I think because Bret got injured. Yeah. Bret, that dastardly Goldberg, kicking him in the head and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Scott Hall. That's right. I was going to say, how can I forget Scott Hall? But at the same time, Scott Hall was going through many issues.
So he's hardly there anyway. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they just kind of fell apart. Yeah. But yeah, that's essentially an ignoble end to the career of the Hitman. Except obviously when he came back to fight Vince, but why? And win the US title, but I prefer not to remember that stuff.
I literally just watched that. What was?
Oh my goodness! Okay. Like, this falls in the same line as the Saudi Arabia Undertaker Kane versus DX match for me, Brothers of Destruction. But where I wish it didn't happen. Or this match went on about 12 minutes or something like that, right? Realistically speaking, it should have just went on for 5. And you should have just basically had, because Vince came out and he said, you know what, Bret, I'm going to bring your most mortal, worst enemies out. And then the Hart family came out. Not Shawn Michaels, not the Triple H, right? Not DX. No, the Hart family, right? Okay. So, okay. That was that. But then they all turned on Vince and they all beat up Vince and stuff like that, right? Then Bret had his match. Like, no, but literally the match could have been just like, okay, the Hart family comes out, they all take their shots at, like, they'd all turn on Vince, they all stomp him around. He gets the heart attack from the Hart Dynasty. Yeah. And then Bret puts him in the sharpshooter. That's it. You didn't need any more.
No. It's one of those things. I'm sitting there like, all right, at least with this match. Actually, I wouldn't say it had like a good payoff. You're right. That shouldn't have happened. It was
because there was that bit where Bret was going to Bret pulled Vince's legs, and you're going, oh, because sharpshooter. There was a cheer like in the crowd because I was like, yes, in my head as well. I was like, the crowd was like losing their patience, and they were like, yep, fine, he's going to put on a move, he's going to get the submission, and that'll be that. No, Bret does a headbutt to the groin. I'm like, right, yeah, I mean. But the way that his match went with the Miz for the US title, that's how this match should have gone.
Yeah,
and I see as well where Bret he tried to climb the second turnbuckle to shout out to the crowd, and he almost fell off and killed himself.
Oh gosh!
Like he fell backwards, and TJ and Harry Smith caught him. I was like, wow, yeah, that's right,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Brett.
But even then, right? And I think as far as the WWF casual audience saw, Bret Hart was he was anti-America, and then now he wins the US title, and he's like, you know what, people are, you know, all along I was with you, I forgive you, forgive me, let's move on, sort of thing. I don't know if that was why they did it,
I
but yeah,
doubt it. They're probably like, you know what, we need to put some continuity in this because if we don't mention it, people are gonna moan. So
yeah,
yeah, let's have him just say something to
yeah,
address the
and to
past.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also the lead up to the Vince match, as far as the character goes, yeah.
Mm.
Was so Vince is all ducking Brett, saying, no, I don't want to have a match with you, blah 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 blah. And then there was a car accident, I think, so Brett's leg got caught. So
Oh
a
yeah, yeah,
car,
yeah, yeah.
something hit the car. So I think he was stepping out of a car, and another car hit the car door and swung back on his leg. And then
Yeah, something.
Vince was like, you're injured, I'll take the match, blah blah blah, because you can't defeat me with one leg. You can't even defeat me with two because he's Vince anyways, right?
Yeah.
And then Brett, after the contract signed, Brett like pulls off the brace of his leg and like, I fooled you.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they had the match, which
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
It wasn't as good as Shawn Michaels and God versus Shane and Vince. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
It probably wasn't even as good as Vince versus Pat McAfee.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't, was it? No. That's like 20 years later.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah. As far as the guy who supposedly and
Sorry,
he admittedly.
Hello?
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 Yeah,
Hello?
sorry about that. I laughed too hard and the head mic bit come out. But yeah, and that was like 10 years later, not 20. But yeah, and that was a lot better than this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And as far as the guy who admittedly was checked out during his WCW run, I thought he did fine actually. You know.
Yeah, he did all right. They just wasted him, but him himself did all right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think as far as character goes, he was consistent through his entire run. He was where he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing really more to say about that because it's not showboaty or flamboyant enough or something like that you can take certain things to a point, and he's not so cartoonishly over the top. Like, okay, Triple H is a straight character, right?
Yeah.
But he's done some crazy things, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been in some really like over the top situations for a guy who, right? Like you could take note of and nothing like that. But Brett's less about that silliness, I guess. Yeah. So stuff is memorable because of the in-ring work rather than the storyline lead up to it, I guess.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah. But here's what I was going to say. So would you prefer to as Brett matches that you would like to have seen? Who would you say? Whoever at any era, at any time, but just like
That's an interesting one.
I think most people will say Kurt Angle.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Possibly Eddie Guerrero.
Oh yeah, that'd have been that. But would you say anti-America cheating Bret Hart versus lie, cheat, and steal Kurt Angle? Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, that'd been pretty cool. Who else? I would have,
strange enough, I would like to have seen him versus like Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Because that'd have been like their styles are different, but they're also kind of like they're submission based styles. But Daniel Bryan's like more of a strike based athlete now as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be like different things to work, like different styles. I don't think they really had a martial arts style. No, they did. I would say like some of the Japanese guys did it, but I think WWF never really pushed it.
Yeah,
because they preferred their brawlers.
Yeah,
sorry?
like what's his name?
Hakushi.
Yeah, Hakushi. That's it.
Yeah.
And him and Brett had a feud, didn't they?
They had two matches.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
They had two matches where Brett made him look like want to say necessarily equal, but like competitive, right?
Yeah.
And then Shawn Michaels turned Hakushi into a jobber, and then Bret's like, Hakushi, man, let's have another go and show you that how the people you know you can do stuff.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, but yeah, I would yeah. Well, actually, would you say you prefer to see Daniel Bryan versus Bret over Kurt Angle versus Bret, or would you prefer to see Kurt Angle versus Daniel Bryan?
Ooh. I would prefer to see Kurt Angle versus Daniel Bryan, if I'm honest.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
we're talking about all their peaks, of course.
Yeah, I still think Daniel Bryan versus Kurt.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because Kurt like, he can go fast. Bret doesn't really go fast, but Angle, if he has to, like, he'll.
Yeah. I think the thing with Angle, as much as I can say, he can also work with any style, is at certain points, he can only go full pelt.
Yeah.
And then I think during most of his TNA run is like angle slam, kick out, and stuff, ankle lock and stuff like that. It's I don't know, say it was formula, but it's like it was like, wow. At certain points during a match, you need to slow it down. You can't keep on going at 10. You know, you gotta pace yourself.
That's why he ended up the way he was.
Yeah.
I still think. Yeah, I think that would have been better, because I just keep thinking of like Angle Benoit matches, and what was the other one? He had really good matches. Him and Ray, stuff like that. Those matches he sort of had with them were really good. Yeah.
Would you have seen see Bret versus any of the Japanese guys?
Yeah. From like nowadays, I would like. Actually, you know who I would like to see Bret face, even though I know who'd win because he's the best. Bret versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because it is more of like the submission-based guys know how to make a match all about submissions, especially like Zack Sabre Jr. is like, he got a whole bunch of submissions that he can win with.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame we never got that Forbidden Door match of Daniel Bryan versus Zack Sabre Jr. That would have been something.
Dope.
Even if they were just like at the beginning of the Benoit versus Kurt Angle match, where they're just rolling on the ground doing chain wrestling for like 7 minutes, and the crowd was loving it. That sort of thing, you know.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but would you think in this modern era of wrestling, where you need a decent amount of mic skills as well? Because back then, I suppose you could get over with just wrestling skills.
Yeah,
and Bret being the excellence of the execution in real life as well as in ring.
Yeah,
it made total sense for his character.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
But would you say like just having pure in-ring skill is not enough nowadays?
It's not enough nowadays. No.
Yeah. You would have to have like, even out of 10 on the mic skills, you would have to have over 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 would be all right.
Only way it sort of would work if you went to like New Japan or something like that, where they don't really care about that stuff.
Or if you had like some guy to do the talking for you, like how. See, what would you say Brock's mic skills are?
Oh, now I'll say Brock's mic skills are like an 8.
Okay, but okay, yes. No, and I don't disagree with you, right?
Yeah.
When Heyman left him, right?
Yeah.
But back when he needed Heyman, what was his mic skills?
His first run, or when he came back in 2012 onwards.
Rate them separately.
All right. When Heyman first left him in like 2004, where it was, and he was feuding with people like Eddie and stuff like that, I'll say then his mic skills were about a 7, 8.
Yeah.
And then when he left for that long time and came back, his mic skills went down to about 3.
Yeah. Where John Laurinaitis been
Yeah.
And then Brock's like, Undertaker, let's do this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I say, yeah. And then from last year when he came back after SummerSlam, his mic skills went up to 8 because he was just like being awesome.
Yeah, it's somehow lumberjack Brock Lesnar is just like, when he's like, I don't give.
Yeah, I
don't care.
Don't give any Fs. I don't care.
Yeah.
He just becomes a lot better.
Yeah, but I think like if Bret wasn't nowadays, at some point he'd get into that mode. Like, it's just got to be like so much more casual about everything that I think he'd be still fine. Like his wrestling skills would have kept, and matches, like how put everything together and all that stuff would be appreciated. Yeah, and I'd probably keep him afloat until his mic skills got enough to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you saying would he be more suited in Japan, AEW or WWF right now?
Right now, I'll still say like Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even AEW.
Nah.
Okay.
Because even
Okay,
though
fair enough.
AEW claims it's more about wrestling, but everyone who's sort of on top and stuff are involved in like stories, ain't they? Rather like not like in ring stories, but like mic feuds and stuff like that, ain't they? So
That's true. It's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It is true. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, you need a certain level of mic skills, or you need to be in a group that someone else can do most of the talking for you.
yeah,
Like Io Shirai is in a group that I don't know how well her English thing's decent, right?
yeah, it's decent, but I don't think she
Yeah.
could cut a 4-minute promo in a ring or something.
No, exactly. So she's got people to cover for her.
Yeah,
But here's the thing: Nakamura's English is decent, and even then, I think he needs someone to help him.
Yeah.
His best bit when he was cutting English promo was when he was like, "No speaking English."
Yeah, that was the best.
Yeah.
No
Even
speaking.
though he was just talking English a second ago.
Yeah, and then because you didn't like what you said, he claims he doesn't speak English. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Not sure that's how it works, but all right, sure.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Overall praise we are saying to the
The Hitman. Yeah.
in character and out of character as well, because I think like both of them inform parts of each other.
Yeah,
as far
they
as
do.
even in ring work.
Yeah.
So you got to praise a guy who can tell a story within the confines of an actual match. Like, I'm going to work on this guy's legs and back to set up my finish, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to, depending on his opponent, they're going to try and not make that happen or do something else as part of their story, you know?
Yeah.
And then later on, things start getting a bit more, when you've weakened certain points, or, you know, I've stopped his high flying ability because he can't really run on his legs and stuff like that. You know, that sort of thing. Everything makes sense in the match if you were just watching it as it is.
Yeah.
So good praise to that, because not all things, like even when you like say you're on the independents, right?
Mm.
Who's going to know your backstory? You're just going to have to tell it there and then, you know, as it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what helped Bret Hart a lot though, because he was capable of doing that. You know how like even if you didn't know his finish, right? I mean, if you saw let's say he's on the independents and you're watching this guy, right? And he's working on legs and back, and you're like, all right, so there's a game plan to this somewhere at some point later on.
Yeah. It's going to lead to something later on, hopefully. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was always like, I think that's partially why he was the excellence of execution. It all helped everything, you know.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I always thought he was a cool looking dude as well.
And disagree on that, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, admittedly, you're disagreeing on that, right?
Yeah.
Was it because his ring you don't think that he looked flashy enough?
Like I was saying before, like, when you first come to the ring, you see what he's doing. Like, that's pretty cool. But then, he doesn't, like, for example, like, Shawn Michaels does all his little elaborate dance to the ring, whatever. Yeah. Stone Cold just comes in looking like a badass, goes to the four corners and posts and stuff like that. Bret doesn't really do anything. He just walks down the ring.
It's true, but I will say this, right? So Stone Cold comes out in his waistcoat and his black trunks, right?
Yeah.
Very straightforward look. So would, Bret looked flashier than that?
Yeah, he did, but it's just.
And I'm not like trying to dig on you enough.
No,
I'm just wondering
I'm
trying to dig into why.
I think that's like, for me, I like the larger than life showboaty sort of like entrances.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Shawn Michaels, come on, compared to the Hitman, not saying the physical looks or stuff like that, but his gimmick is his gimmick is his gimmick, flashy boy toy. It's like, right, but I'm pretty sure the guy who looks like a Hitman, is more capable of fighting a guy who's just basically a male stripper,
Yeah. Well, at first looks, and then you see what Shawn Michaels does. Like, oh, wow, he's doing all this awesome stuff.
True. I mean, let's face it, right? The Macho Man, yeah?
Yeah.
What exactly was his gimmick,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I'm watching it later on, the Macho Man's gimmick, this is why I think, right? When you're looking at it later on, years later, you're like, Well, his gimmick is that he was just on cocaine all the time, every time.
Yeah. Or it's like if you don't know about drug stuff, like this guy just seems he's not a 10, he's on like 15.
Yeah.
Like he's just that, he's
Yeah.
he's a can of like Red Bull. That's him.
Yeah. The human Red Bull can, yeah.
Yeah, literally.
But
that's
then
what he
I
is.
think but I think Brett's contemporaries during that era, like Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, right?
Yeah.
And Kevin Nash. I think he fit in where he was fine because it was transitioning from that to that.
Yeah.
And he'd probably fit better now because characters are they're more real and less over the top.
Yeah. He probably would, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Until he
So,
talks.
sorry?
Until he talks, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll give it that. I mean, I didn't think he ever had the best mic skills, but he had what was necessary mic skills.
Yeah.
Is the best compliment kind of I can give it without making it sound bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was no Owen Hart on the mic. Like Owen Hart.
Wait. Are you saying Owen's better or worse?
I say Owen's better.
Okay.
Like
To be fair as well,
he's the best Hart in my opinion, Owen Hart. But yeah.
Oh, so earlier you were saying that Brett was the third best person called Hart in the ring.
Yeah.
So who are the other two?
Oh, Owen's obviously first.
Yeah.
First, sorry, and then by default, I'll probably say, Bruce Hart. No,
if you know about Bruce Hart, you know.
Yeah, because he was a crazy. Or even Smith Hart. Is it Smith?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a Smith Hart.
Yeah. Them
or would you say weird. Julia Hart, who's not related to them whatsoever?
Oh yeah. Another wrestler. She does nothing for me. But yeah, I was joking. Brett's probably the second best Hart. Yeah, he's second. Yeah. Owen's the first.
To be fair, I will say this as well. I think Owen was in ring. I think Owen had a more flexible moveset.
Yeah.
I would say, like as far as in ring matches go, that Brett might construct things better, but Owen had a flashier moveset and could do a lot more.
Yeah.
He wasn't as rigid.
Yeah.
Because man's busting out Hurricane Ranas and belly to belly suplexes and stuff like that. All sorts of stuff.
Moonsaults.
Yeah, exactly.
Drop kicks.
Yeah. Mic skills, well, you're immortal, keep your leg out of your leg. So
yeah, that's the only mic skill like time I think he flopped. But yeah, other than that, he was pretty good. Like I'm not a nugget, damn it.
Yeah.
I'm a
but I always enjoyed Owen as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, shame what happened later on. But yeah, might do it. We should probably do it like a look back at Owen Hart's career as well.
Yeah,
at some
man.
point.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah. So I'm the man who does not doubt Il Dandy. CY Chong.
And I'm the man that's gonna main event the SummerSlam. Kyle Charles. That's the best ever. And thank you for listening to our character spotlight and career. We'll look back at the career of Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah, because like we said at the beginning, he's basically one and the same, so you kind of can't really distinguish the two that much.
No, which is weird, but yeah. Was you a fan of the Hitman? When was your favorite period of the Hitman? Did you think he should have done more in WCW? And would you blame Goldberg for him being retired? Some may, some don't. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Bret does definitely blame Goldberg.
Yeah.
He didn't even hide that fact.
No, I'm like kind of on the fence about the whole thing, but
well, they always say like partially Goldberg wasn't trained that well because he got pumped out of the power plant too early. But the other thing is as well, when he was spearing people and he was against people that didn't know how to work that well, so he had to throw more force into it.
Yeah.
And I think that also didn't help him.
No, it didn't.
Because when he speared DDP and DDP went down like a feather, Goldberg speared his own head into the ground and knocked himself out.
Yeah. And then the whole Saudi Arabia thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff. Yeah. All right, no, I do blame Goldberg in a way, but then I still think Bret can, like, actually, I can't even say that. Let's say he's like kind of stopped being too bitter about it, but It's not for me to
Yeah.
say that.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
let me just put it this way: if a dude cost you three
Yeah,
million
that's
a
what I'm
year,
saying. Yeah.
yeah,
So I
way
can't
back
really
in the
say that.
night in the 1990, where 3 million a year now is good, right? But
Yeah.
because of everything's gone up in price, whatever, right? Three
Yeah.
million back then would be like the equivalent of like 5 million or whatever, US
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't know about the inflation, but what I'm just saying is, you definitely could have bought more back then than you could now with that.
Yeah. Way more. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, just let us know. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about us, and if you got any recommendations on any fictional or wrestling characters you'd like us to spotlight on, let us know, and we will see what we can do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, but until next time, guys, thank you for taking a trip with us around the multiverse. Bye.
Bye.
I can say one thing about Jerry Lawler. He's forced me to deal with things. The fact that I've had to deal with him boasting about beating me once is bad enough. And then I had Hogman. I had him beat. But Jerry Lawler came out, showed his ugly little face, and I ended up chasing him back to the dressing room, and I missed him by this much. Jerry Lawler, I'm glad I missed it. Because I want you in the ring, in the I Kiss Your Foot match. That's what I want. That's what I got. I got you. And after I ram my foot down your throat, I'm going to take your own dirty, stinking foot and ram it right with your ugly face. Jerry Lawler, I'll see you in the ring.